Hello everybody, I'm taking a look at the ANSA files sourcebook for the role-playing game of the Planet of the Apes. Here it is right here, that slipcase version. You can see the spine right there. It's got some really nice kind of almost like a bronzish type edge to the paper that you can see right here. And it's a fantastic looking book. Like I said, this is not the retail version, but it's I really dig it. Wow, there's so much to say about this. This book absolutely blew me away when I first took a look at it. There's nothing like this that's available so far for the Planet of the Apes. The Lexicon of the Planet of the Apes is a great starter, and it's got a lot of information in it. Really good product too. But for the role-playing game, and even if you're not into the role-playing game, this has got so many answers, behind-the-scenes information, bios on all the characters. It is just a wealth of knowledge. And if you want to play during any of the different 5 movies, this has got everything you need to do that. It starts off with this great piece of San Julian art right here of Dr. Milo pulling up the Liberty One from the water. It's a perfect way to start this book. It's broken into eras. I'm going to be doing videos on this book a lot more in the future for my normal role-playing game of the Planet of the Apes videos. This is truly going to be just an overview of what it's got and what it offers you. It's going to tell you a lot about ANSA. That's going to be the American National Space Administration, is the military arm of the United States space program and sister agency to NASA. And so it says it focuses on the original 5 motion picture series and the 2 original novels. That's going to be Conspiracy of the Planet of the Apes, Death on the Planet of the Apes. This book also contains a sprinkling of references to the television series, animated series, short stories, film adaptation novels, various comic series, and more. And thank God that it does, because it only makes it better. And it also shows me there's still so many other products they could put out about those things for this game, and I hope they do. It's going to tell you how to use this book, obviously, right there. There we've got them. Great piece of art. And, of course, the art's fantastic all throughout. I don't have to keep saying that. So we've got this. This is the first one here. This is the first chapter 1, The Promise of a Better World. And it's going to be broken up into years, 1958 to 1973. And so NASA is formed in 1958. Stationed at Groom Lake, George Taylor becomes a test pilot for the U.S. Air Force. So we've got the beginning. All these things here are really great. So this was the chapter that really amazed me right off the bat. I was not expecting this whatsoever. It's all about the Cold War with the Soviet Union. What was happening before George Taylor's fateful trip into the stars with his crew. And this is an era that you can play in. It's technically not one of the movies, but it's so thorough in what it's telling you and explaining all the different events. Like it says here, events, legends, rumors, telling you about the different programs. I love these little printouts of like memos and things like that, and letters that are sent out, telling you about all the different missions that they went on. And you can set your game, your campaign during this time period. You can play military officers, scientists. It's got new templates here, covert agents. There's a lot of subterfuge in this Cold War that's going on. And it's just really interesting to learn all this stuff that happened early on in the kind of the story of the Planet of the Apes, telling you all about the different craft, all the different missions that they went on, who was the crew for those. You'll find out there's a lot of people that worked with each other, be that like Taylor was with, he was with some other people like Alan Verdon, so that's really neat. You've got, of course, Probe 6. You've got Commander Hudson, Lieutenant Franklin, and Lieutenant Stewart, one of their first missions. And it's just neat to see kind of how they were in other missions that you might not have known about. But wow, there's a lot of great information telling you about Groom Lake, Hasline Base, and Area 51, what they have there, what they were working on. Different areas like Korea and Jupiter. Korea is very important. They found something there that they reverse engineered. Jupiter and the kind of the space race with the Soviet Union, what they did in Mars. Then you've got the stats for these people. So this is Admiral Eugene Gladstone Taylor. This is going to be George Taylor's father right here. You've got all his stats if you want to bring him to life and his background. So just huge bios on all these characters. And then, of course, there's George Ulysses Taylor right there. So you'll have different versions of Taylor in this book. So you'll have him for Planet of the Apes, and now it's him when he was an astronaut. before the Planet of the Apes. And it goes in that kind of order. You've got Thomas Dodge. You've got Marianne Stewart right here. Great write-up for her, to know more about her since we didn't get to see much about her. You've got John Landon, of course, and if you want to know even more about him, check out the great book, if you can find it, Conspiracy of the Planet of the Apes. It is fantastic. You've got astronaut Major John Christopher Brent, one of my personal favorites. I love his write-up about how he is personally. Really good guy, and even one of his abilities is do-gooder, but really enjoy his character a bunch. And then you have some other astronauts that were involved behind the scenes as well. Donovan Maddox, Robert Marks, Eddie Rourke, who is just an absolute hero. Some of the doctors that play a part in some of the other entertainment that's out there, some of the other media that you can read about. I'll be telling you more about that in my future videos. Here's Dr. Otto Victor Hasline, his massive stats right here and how smart he was. And so you've just got a lot of good stuff. Then you've got a lot of NPCs that you can use right here too. And you can have a whole campaign where you're pretty much playing spies, astronauts doing missions beforehand, testing out new technology and experiments. I was not expecting this section whatsoever. It absolutely blew me away. What comes in their different packs that they have, their mission packs, that's really, really neat to pick which one you want to have. Different items here that you can use, weapons, suits, just really impressive. They're going to get into some of the unmanned probes and satellites that they had with their stats, some of the X vehicles that they practiced with, almost killed George Taylor in this one right here. Just really great breakdown of this vehicle right here. And then, of course, our Liberty Probe Series spacecraft. Love it. Absolutely love it. Look at this. Look at how it's all broken down inside. Absolutely fantastic piece of art. I used to always love that, like in a National Geographic or something that had a piece of art like this, telling you everything that's in it and showing you where they stayed, where stuff's stored, the fate of the Liberty One. And this was just a section that absolutely blew me away. And I'll tell you, just this right here, this very beginning, we're at page like 68. There's so much information that you probably didn't know. And it's so interesting. And it makes you think, hey, wow, that's something else I can play. So when people say, hey, how do you branch out from just the Planet of the Apes movie? This book is going to show you how to do that. You can literally play spies and astronauts right here in this. There are game scenarios here, adventures for you, little adventure hooks and campaigns in the Cold War, different types of campaigns you can do during that. Really, really great. And then time-wise, we go to Escape. And people might be like, well, hold on, but I see what they're doing. They're showing you the time, okay? So 1973 to 1982. And now we've got everything from Escape, the timeline. Everything's the same where it starts to break it down. So you start to get to know how these different chapters are laid out, playing in this era. Investigative reporters, animal advocates, police detectives, covert agents, scientists, military officers, and of course, astronauts. So you've got this, all new templates you can work with, police detectives, all the different organizations that are going on. It just keeps building and building and building. Look at that. Just excellent. I'm absolutely just over the moon with this book. Know Your Astronauts. There are different flight sims between NASA and ANSA. Project Cathedral. There's a lot of cool stuff that you may not know about when it comes to the bomb beneath the Planet of the Apes. Project and Operation Church Door. Very interesting stuff. Again, I'll be showing you stuff in the future videos that's going to link and show you where a lot of this information comes from. Because some of this stuff does come from comic books and other sources as well. So here we've got different locations like Armando's Sensational Circus, the Shipyard, the Hotel Beverly Wilshire, all the places that you saw in the movie. And then you've got their stats for Dr. Cornelius. Here's Dr. Zira during this time period. And again, you'll see them maybe later on. Of course, here's my boy, Dr. Milo. He's fantastic. Armando's stats. There's also a lot of fun stuff in here too. Here's Dr. Dixon and Dr. Branton. Here's Bobo, which if you're on Facebook, you know Bobo quite well. Very cool to have him in there. Here's the president, Dr. Hasline. This is Dr. Hasline during Escape. His stats are a little bit different. He's not involved. He doesn't have as high stats back whenever he was really in the thick of a lot of his experiments and his projects. They tell you what happens after his death. And that's a really interesting section right there into itself. A lot of other characters here, enemies, allies, and extras. We even have Cornelius's kimono. Just an awesome little piece that they added in there. I absolutely dig it. Great piece of art there. Love it. Love it. All the different vehicles, how to do a campaign during this time, adventures, further adventures there, adventure hooks, and then we've got conquest, the nature of conquest. Of course, a huge fan favorite. This is a really interesting section right here. Telling you about the APONAUT tapes. We've got all the timeline here. Sometimes it goes day by day, which is very cool. Telling you about what happened in the future and how the world kind of changed, and about the uprising, the Night of the Fires, of course. But look at this great art. Telling you how to play in this era if you want to go ape or go human. Indentured chimpanzee right here. If you want to play, I love the colored coordinated here of these pieces of art. You want to play a gorilla or orangutan, a bounty hunter, sympathizer, an official. And then look here, clever ape. Now, because of apes and how they are, they can't speak in communication at the game table. So if you want to play apes during this time, you're going to kind of be like tribal humans. You're going to have to use stuff like, like sign language. It's going to teach you how to do that within the game. It's going to be really fun to try to communicate at the table as playing these apes. Just a really interesting section here. And politics and organizations. There's a lot of companies right here that's going on during this time. What's happening with ANSA? The ARC program is very interesting. Governor Breck is a big part of this timeline. Obviously, much more so than you probably know from just watching the movie. Here's Operation Church Door, very important. And I'll be showing you Revolution on the Planet of the Apes comic book. Once I get all of them, I'm still missing 2 about that. And that's very important as well. Different locations like Modern City, all the different places that you saw in there. Of course, Ape Management Plaza Complex here, the Undercity Warren. You've got a whole bunch of stuff right here, such as what's going on with the Alpha and Omega bomb launch site, a bunch of different locations like Judy's Department Store and the Captain's Restaurant. I just love how it's so fleshed out, and I wasn't expecting a lot of this stuff. This is the stuff that really I was like, holy crap. I don't know how they got together, the people that wrote this and planned this out, and it gelled so well. So here we have Milo Caesar, and we've got his stats during Conquest right here. He's got some really great stats. Of course, he's starting to get up there with his command of 8D plus 2. We've got Armando, we've got Lisa, we've got Aldo the gorilla, we've got Harlan the chimpanzee, Frank the gorilla, Zelda the chimpanzee. We've got them all. We've got the president. There's Governor Breck. Huge section here. He's very, very integral into this time. And I love this right here. This right here is very interesting as well. The fate of Breck. There's some really interesting comic books that deal with Breck that are kind of gonzo, and you can work with those too once I tell you about those. If you don't know about it, stay tuned, because I'll be telling you what was created with his character. Here's Malcolm McDonald, one of my favorites from the movie, of course. Just a great character. Culp, of course, will be returning. Changed for Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And then Michael Mendez, also the same. Here's Dr. Carl Reich and his Monkey Otto. This is very important too. Again, connecting to Revolution on the Planet of the Apes comic book. Very, very neat. But look at all these stats you have for the characters. And then humans, friends, enemies, allies. Here's a bunch of services you can have here. Ape service. If you need an orangutan servant, they got the price per day for that. Meals. They even have some stuff that's alluded to and talked about in the TV show. Here's the whole thing. I love this. Owner's Guide to Better Servant Apes and Ape Services, the Ape Commands. Fun little section right there. You've got stuff like this right here, Meal and a Pill. And I remember, of course, that is an episode from the TV show. They talk about that. Peter does that. There's also Wash Away Clothing. That's very interesting that he talks about too. Here's all the weapons. The atomic-powered subway train. Again, very important with the TV show. So I love seeing those different aspects of media that were used in this book. Absolutely fantastic. Nuclear weapons, of course, are very important. That's when they started really dropping them at the end of Conquest here. Adventures, you've got campaigns. Telling you about the simian virus. It's starting to, it's obviously it's It's already been going on and killing the animals, the dogs and the cats. We've got adventure hooks right here, and then choose your battle. Great piece of art. Dig it. Caesar's Legacy, telling you about the unknown ape, how a lot of the information about Caesar and what he did was pretty much destroyed by apes in the future. They did not want that information to get out. Here's that timeline. And again, there's so much more to this that I would love to be telling you. It's just this video would be hours and hours long. And I don't think I'd be able to do it in one take. I'd probably crash out at some point. So key historical events, legends, and rumors. We've got irradiated raiders right here. Indentured human, ape outrider. We've got some politics and organizations, the Aldenites that follow him, the band on the word no, and vehicles, and what's going on with the mutants of Forbidden City. You've got that. The first ape city up in the trees, the different locations there. Here we go with the early Forbidden Zone, what's going on with net radiation there, the tall tales of Governor Breck, and here we go. There are even tales of the governor's ghost coming back to haunt the Forbidden Zone, slaying every ape it can find. Yes, I will be telling you all about that in a future video. Here's about the Forbidden City, what's going on down there, and the remnants of that space program. They even talk about something from the Malibu comics of certain apes that were trapped down in ape management, which is a really cool little bit of information you might know about, but I'll be showing you that too. So here's Caesar. He's been updated. It says update, let you know that the character's now, it's different, and his command is now jumped up to 10 dice, which I love. Here's his son Cornelius and Lisa. I love these pieces of fiction right here that add to the world. Very, very good. Virgil. Oh boy, I'm a big fan of Virgil. He is my boy. Paul Williams just absolutely knocked it out of the park with this character, and I really, really dig him. Here's that turd General Aldo and how he's changed. So yeah, we've got all these. Here's Bruce, and we've got all these other characters that you can throw. Even Ricky the squirrel that was that Cornelius witnessed a wounded squirrel escaping a hawk. Here's Ricky's stats. I love that stuff like that. Really, really cool. Then we've got Culp. He's back. He's changed. You're going to see it in some of their stats right here. Mendez is back as well, and that's going to start off, of course, with the mutants. Here's Alma and the Cardinal. Very, very cool. We've got some enemies, allies, and extras right here. They're going to tell you about what's going on now that money is now useless. You've got the barter system that you can put into play. All the different weapons that were used in that big battle are right there. And then we've got campaigns, adventures. Here's the Doomsday Bomb and how to deal with that. The Enemy of Peace, more adventure hooks. A great, great section there. What lies beneath? So now we are at Planet of the Apes and beneath the Planet of the Apes. We've got our huge timeline because a lot of stuff's going on here. The shape of things to come. The Mutant Menace. Everything's starting to come to a head right here. The genius of Dr. Milo. Again, he's a very integral part in this time situation that we've got going on. How to play in this era. And this is a lot of what you want right here. The Hunt Club. And the Knitting Club. Citizens Liberation Front for a Free Simia. Abolishing the quota system and how that affected the area. The Fellowship of the Holy Fallout, of course, they're in full effect right now, and it's got everything you need to know about them. Mutant Genesis, and the Overseers, and we're starting to deal with some other stuff as well that's going to show up. That's in the comics, and just some really great stuff too. The House of Culp. And then here we've got astronaut George Taylor. Updated status right here. This is Bright Eyes. This is how you know him in Planet of the Apes. This is his stats right there, as you can see. Absolutely massive. What's going on with Thomas Dodge, of course, unfortunately, he's dead. And Marianne Stewart also died too, but a little bit of information right there for you. And then Landon with his updated status. Again, that's where you'll get more information about him from Conspiracy of the Planet of the Apes. I sure would love for them to reprint that book. It is absolutely amazing. John Brent's been updated here for Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Here's our boy Dr. Zaius, as you know and love him, of course. Really great stuff right here, filling in all these characters that you see in the movies. And there's General Ursus. He's a big badass. He's got a big command as well. Very cool character. Chief Marcus. A lot of these characters here also be in Conspiracy. You'll see them, like Mungwort, and you can read more about them in that book. I highly, highly recommend you try to find them. Find that book if you can. Dr. Cornelius right here. Here's Dr. Zira. And we've got them. I've got Milo, Dr. Galen. Just great. Lucius. Unfortunately, he didn't survive. Here's Nova. And then here's this right here. We've got the white ones. This is going to go all the way to Terror on the Planet of the Apes, the Marvel magazine of Planet of the Apes. And it's really, really great to have them in here. That's the white ones are really, really neat. Here is His Holiness Mendez the 26th, the Verger. He's breaking down all those different mutants that you've got. And just great to have all their stats, of course. I love the different color stuff. This is cool too. This character right here. Read about him. Very interesting to know where he came from. Adventures, campaigns, how the zone was won. Here's Adventure Hooks. Got a bunch for this, obviously. We're really melding in 2 movies with that section. And then the Infinity Highway. And I should say the Infinite Highway. It's really cool. This is an interesting section that you may not even need to read, but if you want to read about time dilation, the Hasline curve, near light speed travel, all these different kind of sections on the timeline and the highway, the highway interpretations right here, changing lanes. This is a little bit of a mind job for you to try to get your head around, but it's trying to make sense of all this different time stuff, whether or not it's a closed loop or not. Very, very interesting section that I really, really dig. You can actually have some stuff happen to your character where it taxes, changing lanes, just taxing on the body and the mind. So this is a really neat section here at the end. And again, that's the cover art for the retail version right there. So yeah, there's so much in this book. It is an absolute masterpiece. And I can't even believe they did it. It is so full of information for you to use. And when people say, again, when they say, how do you do it? How do you just do with, how do you pull more out of Planet of Apes? Well, this is how you do it. You can do all these different eras. And then there's still so much more that they didn't add to this book, which I hope they will in another book. So it is a fantastic pick up if you like Planet of the Apes. It's got a lot of information, a lot of answers you didn't know. And it just really solidifies the whole universe of the Planet of the Apes. And it's right up there with Andrew Gasca's his canon. This is going to have everything you need, and to really have a lot of cool adventures. Go on missions as astronauts, play as an Escape from the Planet of the Apes. You can change the characters. Maybe it wasn't Cornelius and Zira that went back. Maybe it was your characters, or you can play their characters. You can change the story. You can change the timeline. That's what this is all about. You can be a James Bond type character here. The possibilities are endless with this book, and so much information to pull from to know where all these characters kind of came from and this timeline that's been going on. So there it is. I've got so much more to say about this book. I'll be referencing a lot in future videos that I'll make for this game. I don't know how many people are actually reading through this. I'm hoping they are a lot, but you can always just grab a section that you want to play from and just work with that, or read it all just from cover to cover and just be absolutely enthralled at how much there is to offer from the Planet of the Apes. So there it is, the ANSA Files Sourcebook. Great book. Thanks for watching.